Back in June on the blog, we gave a rundown on upcoming dungeon souls like Immortal Planet from indie developer teedoubleugames. With plenty of features that should appeal to the soul-starved gamer, Immortal Planet hit the Fextralife top 5 RPGs for July. Recently, we had the opportunity to play through the game's beta ourselves ahead of its July 31st release. What follows is some of our beta impressions. Immortal Planet takes place on a cold and icy planet, inhabited by immortals. Get it? Immortal Planet. We learn that immortals, such as yourself, need their sleep or they tend to get cranky. This is seen right away, as the other immortals usually greet you with violence. The protagonist has lost all memory and seeks to do stuff. As you proceed, there are early hints that there is more to Immortal Planet's slumber parties than they're telling, and it might be in your best interest to find out what. Immortal Planet is another entry in the top-down isometric action RPG genre that benefits by unshackling the need to stress out your machine's resources. This allows the developers to focus on polishing mechanics, creating their own style, and more. With that said, Immortal Planet is unlikely to wow anyone with setting or appearance. A first glance suggests you're looking at a less colorful version of Transistor. Both have a heavy emphasis on electronic and industrial themes, though teedoubleugames seems to have read our Soulslike how-to with a fair share of gray bricks. The characters are also a bit rudimentary on the surface. However, none of this is what we'd call a negative. Similarities in aesthetics aren't a big deal, and comparing this to Transistor is hardly an insult. Ultimately, this is a game that we firmly believe will be judged on gameplay rather than looks. Now, if you think the term Soulslike is overused, you're right. It is. Too bad for you then, because this is one of the clearest Souls-likes we've seen. Souls fans will have zero difficulty identifying common elements. Character creation has the player selecting a starting weapon, which feels similar to starting class. There's a starting gift to choose, which allows for perks like stamina or health regen. Each gift's perk ties to a particular combat mechanic, parrying or dodging at the right time, for example. The game's initial stage serves as a story-embedded tutorial, different only from the rest of the game in that it contains messages such as, "This button does blank," or "Try this technique." Furthermore, Immortal Planet takes elements from all the Soulsborne games and attempts to harmonize them. The main weapon provides the melee combat, including blocking. Parrying, quick steps, and spacing are critical elements for melee combat. Players can mix and match up to 4 extras to use. In addition, the player is quickly given access to a firearm, a lightning spell, and blood vials in auto-injectors that are identical to Bloodborne. These are all assignable to the extra slot. To support this variety, players level up and select stats to enhance their favorite style of play. Leveling and item replenishment occurs when the player rests in cryo chambers. If this sounds just like a bonfire experience to you, that's because it is. Moreover, while Immortal Planet mixes and matches many features from the Soulsborne titles, it doesn't stray too far from the formula, not counting aesthetics. But the Souls series didn't invent these mechanics, only refined or reintroduced them, and familiarity does not always breed contempt. The hallmark of the top-down action game has generally focused on speed, i.e. the elf in Gauntlet while jacked up on speed potions. When you slow these games down, they often come with a strategy element that is, or is close to, turn-based. Immortal Planet slows you way down without becoming anything resembling turn-based, and this is where the title starts to shine. The first thing to notice was the slow movement speed. The term plotting isn't far off. Sprinting takes the speed up a notch, but at first, you might wish there were some of those speed potions. This is reinforced with slower combat pacing than have come to expect with this style of game. Furthermore, enemies have a variety of tactics that they telegraph. Learning enemies and their patterns is crucial to survival, as you often need to choose actions much like an intricate match of rock, paper, scissors. Stamina governs almost every action, and the first lesson you'll learn is that button mashing will fail. I tried it for the hell of it, and the very first enemy almost killed me. I found myself playing far closer to a Souls game than I anticipated, creeping forward to draw out enemies one at a time, learning which attacks I can backpedal from to not waste stamina, and more. Not once was I flying around the screen. Overall, Souls games have crept into the mainstream, and for now at least, seem to be a major influence on developers. This has led to a plethora of games that are mechanically close enough to be called Souls-like. Immortal Planet stands out as a game that does far more than share some mechanics. At its core, it's very much isometric Souls, and goes far in capturing the elusive feeling of gameplay that is the Souls signature of adrenaline-laced strategy without being built exclusively on speed. After all, speed kills.